Hey guys, Joe from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, August 15th, 2014. This video is going to be about the eBay Fall Seller Newsletter. I'm sure you all probably got it in your inbox the other day, and that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to try and cover as many points as I can, but I know beyond any doubt I'm going to leave a bunch of stuff out. And hopefully I'll continue next week and we'll address those issues. But let's get started. First of all, just a few things, if I may. Earlier today I put out a video about an eBay gathering I attended in Maryland during the week. Had a great time with some of the cool people I'm friends with on Facebook, other eBay top-rated sellers, and the announcement actually came out while we were there in Maryland. So we actually had a big roundtable discussion and we all said our piece and exchanged views. And oddly enough, eBay also had a town hall meeting, which really they didn't announce or they didn't tell any of us about. So we didn't have enough time to actually join in on the town hall meeting, so the whole gang of us missed it. I'm wondering if any of you guys sat in on the town hall meeting, and if you did, could you tell us anything that was covered? Alright, let's get right to it. The eBay Fall Seller Newsletter covered a lot of points. There's a lot of really important material. I would love you guys to actually read it. Read the newsletter. It's important that you do. But I'll cover what I can. First of all, cancellations. A new policy eBay has instituted, whereas a buyer now has 1 hour after he buys your item to cancel the sale. Geez, I wonder where they got that idea from. Doesn't it sound like something we've been talking about here now for quite a while? Basically how it works is this. Let's say a guy does a buy it now at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He has till 5 o'clock to cancel. Whether it's, auction or whatever, buy it now. He has 1 hour, providing you, the seller, have not yet shipped the item. Alright? If you haven't shipped the item and it's less than an hour, he can cancel the sale through the eBay contact system. Now, if it's longer than an hour, he can't do it automatically. He can't automatically cancel the sale. However, he can still contact you and request you to cancel the sale. And in that case, it's up to you whether or not you want to cancel it. As long as you haven't shipped the item, you may want to cancel it. I'm not telling you to cancel it, but you know what you can do if you don't. Order details. Order details now has a new little drop-down menu with a very important link. Hope you can see this. Of course you probably can't. See the screen? You will notice that there is a new line, a new choice, finally, the first one. I have a question about using my item, or I want to send the seller a message. That will not result in a defect. It's about time, man. This is one of the things we've been moaning about for months. How when a buyer innocently wants to ask you a question about your item, and it would automatically open up a defect. Well, now that will not happen anymore, providing he clicks that particular choice, which is the first one. I think that's a very good and long overdue improvement on eBay's part. There is no reason to create an adversarial atmosphere between the buyer and the seller. We need to work together. So that was good news, I think. I have heard, and I haven't substantiated this yet, that there is a problem with guest users. You know, people who sign up as an eBay guest and they have that really weird user ID. Well, again, this is just something I heard on one of the boards. I don't usually go on the eBay boards, but I did today because number one, I wanted to get a feel for the community as to how they receive these changes, and I wanted to see what the people were saying. And somebody wrote in and said that guest users cannot contact us like I just showed you. In other words, contact us without creating a defect. So that's something that needs to be addressed. If it's true, I'm going to look into it a little more. Another big thing eBay is shouting about are these hassle-free returns. This is August 2014. By next year, the end of 2015, eBay wants all sellers in the hassle-free returns program, period. Period. Assuming you take returns. Now, of course, you still don't have to take returns if you don't want to. But keep in mind, number one, you'll never be a top-rated seller. Number two, eBay can still make you take returns if a person opens a snag case. But back to hassle-free returns. I am not, at this time, opted into hassle-free returns. I find it can lead to abuse. Meaning, let's say a person does a buy it now on one of my items. Buys one hub, gets it, and thinks he's getting 4. He wants to send it back for his money back. All he has to do is check off the button that says item not as described, and eBay will make me pay the return shipping, and that's wrong. I'm not paying it. Not if he made the mistake. Conversely, if a buyer does a buy it now on a 15-inch hub and I send them a 14-inch, well then yeah, that's not as described and I should be held accountable. That I agree with. But again, it's human nature, guys. Seriously. Why do you think a buyer is going to check off if he knows he can check the snag button and get free return shipping, or check I made a mistake or I changed my mind and he's got to pay? I mean, otherwise the hassle-free returns program could probably work, but at this time I'm not involved in it. When you guys leave your comments, it would be nice if you gave us an idea. Are you in the hassle-free returns program? And if not, why? Okay, next week. Next Wednesday, August 20th, eBay is having a webinar. 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. California time. I am definitely going to be viewing it and communicating with the folks, and I suggest you do too, but if you can't, I'll address it next Friday. It's going to do with the theme of holiday selling. As you know, eBay's been wanting us to extend our holiday returns for 3 months. I mentioned this a long time ago. I think it starts in November. I think 3 months is way too long. That's my opinion, okay? But like I've said, when you're playing in somebody else's sandbox, you got to go by their rules. If offering 3 months returns is going to keep that 20% TRS discount, well then, it's 3 months returns. I'm not thrilled with it, but I have to acclimate. Now, we spoke earlier about returns. Not just holiday returns, but returns in general. For instance, as I said, if somebody gets your item and it's not as described, you have to pay return shipping, you as the seller. But I found out something that's very concerning, and I want to bring this up to you guys, and get your opinion on this. You know these Chinese sellers we've been talking about for the last few months that sell these substandard items? Well, as you know, eBay caters to them. They bend over backwards, and these Chinese sellers get cheaper shipping rates than you and I would get. So let's say you purchased an item from a Chinese seller. All right? It doesn't matter how much it is. It's cheaper for them to ship to us than it is for us to ship to them, because they get a huge discount. We've talked about this. So let's say you buy an item, and let's say they only have to pay $3 to ship it to you. All right, you get the item and it's not as described. You file a case. According to the information I have gleaned, they will not have to pay the return shipping, the Chinese sellers. You, the American buyer, will have to pay the shipping, and you won't be paying the $3 they paid. You'll be paying the full rate to ship to China. If you want to know where I came by the information, maybe I should really drop a link, but I don't know if I'm going to have time. I read it on the boards this morning. Okay? Somebody was really ticked off about that. And I don't blame them. I do not think these Chinese sellers should be catered to. I mean, if they were selling super great quality stuff, I still wouldn't like it, but at least I could say, well, I mean, it's quality stuff. It ain't quality stuff, guys. So I'd like your opinion on this, and I don't want to say be wary, but I'm going to say it anyway. Be wary. These big box conglomerates, as they say in Brooklyn, they're getting away with moida. What's your opinion on that? Something new eBay has come up with called automatic defect removal. Here's how it works. As we all know, a lot of sellers have been getting unfair and unwarranted defects. Joey's got them too. eBay has stated that once a week, every Wednesday, they will basically clean house and purge the system of all unwanted defects, so that the next day, Thursday, if you check your seller dashboard, the unwanted defects will be gone. What constitutes an unwanted defect? And will this system work? Guys, only time will tell. A question was posed. If we call CS and ask them to remove an unfair defect, will they remove it? And the answer given was, well, we here at eBay want to keep the playing field as level and reasonable as possible, so we will try and keep an open mind and explore all possibilities, something to that effect. But no definitive answer was given. One might think that it's still going to be very hard to get a defect removed. I know a lot of you guys have had to jump through hoops to get them removed. And even when you did jump through hoops, they didn't get removed. It's a sore point with all of us sellers, these defects, man. I mean, I talked to somebody, a friend of mine, somebody I like, and he said to me, well, Joe, I like the defect system because it keeps sellers offering a top quality customer service. You know, I'd like to think that we all offer that anyway. I just think the defect system is a bit over the top. But in all fairness, at least now buyers can contact us and ask us questions like, you know, did you ship my item yet? Or how do I do this? And it will not open an automatic defect against us. So I'm very happy to see that. Now, have any of you guys had any problems recently on eBay? It doesn't matter if you're a buyer or a seller. Every now and then I get PMs from you guys saying that you had a problem as a buyer. And you know, that really shocks me, I gotta be honest with you. I'm not knocking you or anything. I'm just saying with the climate now, the way it is on eBay, a lot of sellers are really catering to buyers. I had one the other day, actually it was last week. A lady writes to me. She hasn't bought the item yet. And she says, Joe, I'm interested in buying your hubcap. And I want to ask you a couple of questions before I buy. Number one, what size is it? Number two, are the clips all good on the back? Number three, will it fit my particular car? And she told me. I wrote back to her and I said, I am so glad you asked me all these questions before you buy. That's the smart thing to do. So I answered all three of her questions. Bang, bang, bang. She was happy. She goes, great. I will go ahead and buy it. She goes ahead and buys it. I send it out to her. She gets it. Very next day, I get a question from seller about returns. Now, she asked me every single important question she could. Why would she want to return it? And she writes, well, my tire shop told me this was the right hubcap I needed for my car, but apparently it's not. I'd like to return it. And you know what? What struck me as suspicious? She didn't ask me if I had the right one. She didn't say like, well, I bought a 15-inch one, I need a 14. You know, or I bought one for a 1995, I need one for a 96. Never attempted to ask me that, which led me to believe that maybe she had found one cheaper from another eBayer. So I went and did a search on her, and I couldn't do it. Not because I don't know what I'm doing, because you can't search anymore for buying history, bidder history. Why? Because I think too many sellers were catching on to what these people were doing and, you know, shopping around after the fact. And I really feel that it's sad that eBay is not letting us look at that. I really think openness is the key to success. There's no reason to hide anything like that. Bidder history. I don't get it. So, I know there's a whole bunch of points I didn't cover on today's video, but I don't really want to inundate you. I'd rather cover 5 or 6 points thoroughly than 15 points half-assed, because we can talk about these 5 points in depth tonight, and then next week we can move on to 5 more. So here's what I want to hear from you guys. Number 1, any points I did not cover regarding the new newsletter that you want to talk about next Friday, comment below. I'll make a note of them and we'll talk about them next Friday. Number 2, what are your thoughts on the points we did discuss? Whether they're positive or negative, I'd love to hear them. Alright? I'm especially interested in your thoughts about hassle-free returns, how they're going to make everybody opt in by the end of next year. Those of you guys who take returns. So talk about that if you would. Just keep it topical. You're free to say what you want. You know that. I don't censor comments. Somebody wrote in the other day. She wrote in, well, Joe, I made a comment in your last video, and I guess you didn't like it because you removed it. Well, that's not the case. I didn't remove anything. With this new Google Plus garbage, people can mark your comments as spam if they don't like it. And they'll disappear. And the only way I can actually find out about this is if either A, you tell me, and I unmark it as spam, or B, is if I actually physically click on the video comments and find that little yellow bar that says these comments might be spam. I have to physically, manually unspam them. So if any of you have been spammed, let me know and I will unmark the comments. And also, I'll put a link to that video I did this morning, the one we filmed in Maryland, in case you didn't catch it. Hopefully you'll like that. And I guess that's about it. And oh yeah, there's a little bit of background noise in this section that I filmed on the inside of Carolyn's house. I'm sorry guys. I don't know any way of eliminating that short of pushing people out the door, and I'm not pushing anybody out of a door of a house that I don't even own. Thanks for watching. I'm Crazy New York Driver and you're not. I hope this little recap of the fall newsletter has been helpful to you. If it has, you can comment. If it hasn't, comment what you want to talk about next week. Alright? Once again, thanks for being here on a Friday and commiserating with us about eBay. See ya.